Hey, what is it, guys? So, I wanted to build the most annoying deck that I could think of. So, we went with True Draco because it's annoying and it gets the purpose done, and it's going to create the world's greatest feature match of this versus Flunder. Which, I'm sorry, Rob, but you will have to watch that. I will stream it on the TV just for you to watch. You'll die inside a little. But besides that, it was a fun deck that I did play for a while, and I kind of regret getting rid of it because I had it in very, very shiny rarity. Except for the droplets, I was too poor to own it back then. But it was very, very nice shiny rarity. And the deck kind of does well when it wants to. Fair enough, if you don't draw any of the True Draco monsters, you're going to die in like 3 seconds. But free spot removal will always be good because free spot removal is free spot removal, and with that new Morganite card that's come out, it works. I'm just trying to figure out like the correct ratio to play it in because I don't think that it's needed at 3 because its effect only gets used once, and you don't want it to see more than one of it in any situation in the game because it's terrible. So I'm trying in different decks to see what the correct ratio is. Like I've already figured out the ratio for it. You play at 1, if you do some drawing, that you will see it at some point, and then you win from there. But besides that, it's a little bit more difficult with other decks. I did contemplate it in Flu and some other stuff, but again, ratios need to be figured out. But for now, we're just gonna go into the card by card. We're not gonna do the extra deck because it doesn't exist. It's True Draco. This is not the version that had some form of extra deck because my friend suggested playing that on Prosperity, but Prosperity conflicts with your best True Draco draw card, as well as it means that you have to play Skill Drain instead of Erupt. And Skill Drain hurts you, Erupt doesn't. Erupt just deals with every single board in the game. Anyways, let's go into all the nice, pretty, lovely Floodgate cards. So we start off with a Mana. Now, the reason why we play Mana over the Inspector border is because this just shuts down everything for a turn. Like, fair enough, you can't use your Draco stuff, but your opponent can't do anything either. And it means that, like, a lot of combo-ish decks just can't function with just you saying no. And if you can get to the point where you have an Amano on the field and you have access to a True Draco plus Erupt, it just means that you've shut them down for the turn, and then you shut them down for the rest of the game, because then they have to out the Erupt at some point, which once you get your engine kind of rolling with True Draco, it's very, very difficult to deal with the Erupt unless they have some form of back row removal, which, as for control decks, there isn't, even for like Eldritch, Altergeist, and all the others, they don't play that much back row removal because they mainly deal with it the monster effects, which in the case of Altergeist, they ain't doing anything because their back row removal is monster effects. Eldritch, fair enough, they have a Golden Lord, which if they've got the Golden Lord, they're not going to out the Erupt anyways because it's just a wasted card. Against all the combo stuff, well, they just don't play back row to deal with it. And the fun part is this actually also hurts Labyrinth as well. So like the king of the back row gets hurt by one very old Monarch card that works really well with a mana. Then for the True Dracos, we play through the Dynamite Knight, 3 Ignist, and the 1 Maiden. So the reason why we play this ratio over any of the others is I was contemplating playing 2 Maiden, 2 Ignist. However, Maiden doesn't really do anything without access to your back row. Like, you want access to your back row over the searching for the monster. Fair enough, your diagram is at 1, but you play Duality, Desires, stuff that draws you into cards very easily. So at some point you will draw into your Dracos. If you don't, then it sucks to be you, kind of. But beyond that, there is no reason to play more than 1 Maiden. Maybe if there were other... No, that's why. The Ignis and the Dynamite Knight is just for the sole fact of you want to see the Dynamite Knight more than the Ignis because that does stuff during your opponent's turn. Like getting Apocalypse and getting Return is just amazing because Return is just a free body every single turn, and Apocalypse is really good because the halving of attack really does start to stack, and your opponent sometimes just forgets that Apocalypse can pop stuff. So Apocalypse can pop stuff for the sole purpose of it hits the True King's Return. It's half your monster's attack and now pops a card on the field. or it hits one of the spells and it hits one of your back row. So it's multi-tool effectively. It's very bad multi-tool, but it's a multi-tool nonetheless for True Draco. Then for the spell lineup, we play the three disciples, the one dragonic diagram, 3 droplet, 2 desires, 3 duality, 1 terraforming, 1 morganite, and 3 heritage. So we obviously max out on all the True Draco cards because you want to see all of them. None of them are bad. Disciples give you free stuff from the graveyard back into your deck. Maybe you might want to play it at 2, but I think 3 is the correct ratio for it. Heritage, you never play less than 3 because it just draws you cards. So it can be a draw 3 nearly every well, not every time, but quite often it is a draw 3. The mirror match circumstance is never going to come up, but when it does come up, you will be drawing 3. And as for the other cards, they're either draws or protection. So the Morganite, I play at 1 for this because you don't want to see it any other point, because if it was like a continuous spell or a continuous trap, then yeah, it would be amazing because I could tribute it to summon the True Dracos, but it's not, so it's just dead beyond then. And the droplets is kind of low-key amazing in this because you send the True Draco cards that are on the field and you get 3 additional stuff from it. Like, there have been circumstances where I've sent like 1 of each of them to the grave. Heritage give me a free draw, and they've also just disrupted my opponent's field, so it just becomes amazing. And the reason why for desires and duality is because just free draw power is free draw power. You need to dig into your deck at times to really get to the stuff that you need, because if you can't see your monsters quick enough, you just lose, and that's sad. So we just stick to what we know of. We want to just at least see one of them. If you desire, and also because you play so many 3-offs, it doesn't matter what you desires because it's just going to function the way it's supposed to. And then to round it off, we have the traps of the 3 Erupt, the 3 Tikaboo, 3 Apocalypse, 2 True King's Return, and 2 Waterfall of Dragon Souls. So this is just skill drain, but better, because this is just skill drain that hurts your opponent but does nothing to you. As long as you have a tribute summon monster on the field, basically just negate your opponent's stuff. That's pretty much it. Fair enough, it does die if you don't have a True Draco up for too long, so yeah, it's kind of bad like that. But it's something that is just another floodgate. That's it. It's just a floodgate. Tikaboo, yes, it does hurt your deck. It does hurt your opponent. You could take this out for Rivalry potentially, or maybe Gozen. Probably Rivalry over them because you have cards of different attributes, so Gozen kind of hurts you a bit more. But I feel that Tikaboo does shut down a lot more decks. I could have done it as 2 and 2, so 2 Tikaboo, 2 Rivalry of Warlords, but I have to find something else to take out, and I think the list is fine where it is. This is just standard True Draco lineup. You don't really want to play 3 Return because Return doesn't do anything besides just it's a reborn. Fair enough, it gives you tribute summon during your opponent's turn, but in comparison to Apocalypse, that just outs multiple things, yeah, I'd rather have the Apocalypse. And then this is just free searching. I need to find more copies of this so I can play this deck in real life. But basically, it is extra copies of the Wind True Draco. That's it. That's it. It's just extra copies of that. You're not really going to use the second effect because the second effect is a bit kind of garbage. You're only using it for the first. So yeah, that's the deck in a nutshell. It loses to itself like every other Floodgate deck. You don't draw Eldritch cards, Eldritch doesn't work. You don't draw Labyrinth cards, Labyrinth doesn't work. You don't draw monsters to summon in True Draco doesn't work. So it plays itself, and it loses to itself very easily. For the side, it's 3 Inspector border, so we want more ways to say no to our opponent. Like, fair enough, I know the theory is 5 normal summons, but the deck is full of normal summons anyways, and if you draw the Morganite, normal border, normal in mana, your opponent's definitely not going to be having a good day. But yeah, it's just basically more ways to shutting down your opponent. Like, you can live off the fact that your True Dracos can't activate effects, but your opponent has to commit something from the extra deck to the field for them to actually be able to play around the border, which the moment they do, your True Dracos are turned back on, and you're only going to activate the maximum like 3 monster effects a turn. But if you do it properly, you can just live off one of them, so it doesn't really matter. Cosmic is Cosmic, it's just more back row removal, and some back row is just better to be Cosmic than True Draco cards deal with it. Then we have the 3 Monarch Stormfall. This is amazing. So it's an oldie but a goodie, in the sense of you play this and you distribute your opponent's stuff to some of your stuff, which works quite well because you can use the traps to some of your opponent's turn, and then this is just spot removal for it. So yeah, it's just good like that. Then there's the 3 anti-spell. It's continuous trap, so you can get rid of it at any point in time by just using it as fodder to some of the true Dracos, and also it just shuts down a lot of decks. With the amount of drawing that you have in here, you're kind of guaranteed into one of your floodgates. This is just an additional bit of pushing for guaranteeing your opponent's just not going to do anything. And then Solemn's just Solemn. Every trap deck should play Solemn, or at least play some form of protection. We could have played Lord of the Heavenly Prison over Solemn, but Solemn is just better overall. There's no real reason otherwise.